All right, so balance changes. Uh, I wanted to record my first impression instead of the whole thing, but couldn't get to do it. I already saw these this morning, so I will go through them pretty quickly. So for the heroes, it's Judge Kize, LRK, and Meltenia, the MLs. Then bonus is on Bihu, Young Landy, Minegal Lilias, Mumbani, Severadin, and Malmorancy. And for artifacts, it should be Otherworldly Machinery and Crown of Glory. So I didn't watch any video on these, so this opinion is pretty much my own. I've only talked to my friends about these and nothing else, so I may miss some things that maybe better players have already found out. But to be honest, I think most of these are fairly relevant. There are like one or two that are probably okay, and then the rest doesn't really matter. Anyways, let's start with Judge Kise. So, Virgo to Sagittarius, it's I think 4 more speed, and then slightly more attack, slightly more health, less defense. I think this is the trade-off, which is obviously a good trade-off, but okay, whatever. It's not gonna change her usability. And then her death break goes from 75 to 85%. I feel like this kind of screams for an EE, which, as far as I know, Jikis doesn't have one. I don't use that unit, so I don't really know. She's in the coin shop right now, and I will not buy her because this doesn't look like it does much. And again, it doesn't change your usability. This thing, you use it in like some cleaves very rarely. Like so, yeah. I don't really have an opinion on this one. I think it's too little, and this is also like water for buff or something. LRK straight up barrier strength increase, nothing else. That's all it is. We would need to see the numbers on this one, but again, does not change the reason why you pick him. It's literally the same unit, slightly better barrier. Sure. Unless the barrier strength is like, you know, double or something like that. I doubt it really changes anything. Um, DBS. So I don't like this unit. I have a lot of bad feelings about this unit. But we do agree that she isn't best unit in the game. She's fairly annoying. That's kind of it. So she now gains 10 souls, and then her barrier and self buff of punishment lasts for 3 turns, which is pretty good. Means that she does have the 4,000 additional damage, so 250, um, for 3 turns instead of two. And also she gains souls. This is because she would want to soul burn now because um, her skill cooldown is decreased by 2 turns and the damage dealt of S3 is increased. I would assume that the damage increase isn't on par with the Soulborn. I would assume it's fairly lower because there's like 1500 more damage here. And at the same time, this does likely help with all of the additional damage reduction that is in the game right now and brings her a little bit more up to speed. Don't like this unit, so yeah, whatever. Uh, we now move to the most pointless change in the game, which is like 10% more on last Requiem's effect chances. Sure. I believe this makes him go to 100%. I don't even know. The only reason why you would use this unit is like, what? Green Expedition, I guess, is kind of best in slot there, but that that's it. And I don't think this really changed anything, but whatever. Bihu. So 5 more speed. This is Lua and as Poly stats. So he's 120. He gets effectiveness instead of defense from his Flamekeeper because he lost 30% effectiveness from the constellation change. And now he deals a burn on his S3, and his EE is gives him an additional bird. That's kind of it. I again don't think this really changes anything. It's obviously a good change. He's better than what he was before, but who's gonna pick him? Not really anyone. So I don't think this really change anything. Um, for red flying, this is confusing, I would say. So uh, first of all, they turned her into an evasion unit, so she has 50% evasion. As far as I know, there isn't really any warrior artifact that would really help with that. Um, they changed their soul burn for the S1 to an extra attack with the same skill. Um, that goes along with the change over EE, which gives her 15% CR. So if you soul burn, it's 30% CR boost to herself. And then the attack difference reduced to reach maximum death pen is reduced. Also, she buffs herself with attack up, even if like in 100% of the times, and not only when the caster does not have a debuff. And she loses her 30% damage reduction on a crit, which okay, cool, whatever. I have no clue about this. This doesn't change anything. I feel like this unit's still way too weak, and there's just no reason to pick her. This thing is just an imprint for Averhwas. Um, Greenlandy. This is awkward. I don't really know why they've done this. So instead of granting increased speed, they raise their CR push to 25 instead of 15, and she loses the speed up, and she just gains a self barrier proportional to attack. I don't really know about this. This thing seems weird. Like I don't know about this. She's a little bit better at chaining stuff because the CR boost is just immediate compared to the speed up, but the speed up wasn't bad. So I'm not sure about this one. Seems a bit weird to me. Midnight Gala, this is a okay change, I would say. So Event Recover is straight up increased. She doesn't have to soul burn for it, and soul burn just increases damage or S1. Okay, sure. Also now she her now or never passives changed. So instead of granting increased attack to all allies for 2 turns before increasing CR by 15, she gets the same buff, and then she increases combat readiness of the caster of everyone by 20 and of the caster by 50. So this is pretty big CR push change. Not really the all allies, like 15 to 20 doesn't really change a lot. But the self push of 50% is very good because it means that if she gets low, she's just gonna cut. That's pretty strong. And obviously, this thing is a cockroach passive, so she's gonna get low and then cut. Obviously, you don't really just instantly kill her unless you're using something like Renak. Um, and then the S3 is now like one more turn of increased attack, which doesn't matter. Um, and it ignores damage reduction and maturing effects. It's very strong. It just means that she pretty much has a free artifact that she can run. She can just run any FIFA artifact because you pick this into scales and you don't need to have um, Summer Photogenic. You don't really need to have her own artifact at this point, even. Uh, yeah, just go with anything at this point. Um, she can definitely use maybe the Tori artifact. So she can get a barrier or something like that. That could boost her survivability. I don't think it really matters. It's probably like people are gonna find out, obviously. I don't really use this unit. I might start using her after this. She seems interesting. Then again, it's not something we don't have in the game. Like we have ignore damage reduction effects on thieves because we just have an artifact that does that. So it's not really anything new. It's just a unit that can do that and run another artifact. Sure, fine, decent. But also she's single target, so that's a bit awkward because at that point you're competing with Marceline for the single target damage dealer thief, and uh, yeah, Celine might be a little bit better than than this one. Even Green Celine is probably better than this, admittedly. Um, Mundo, I don't really know why they changed her. I feel like it was a unit that was had her spot in the game, but sure. So she loses the 30% ER, fine. Instead of granting immunity, she grants skill effect null to the teammates, and then increases their combat readiness of by 30%, which means that you can play less speed the more you are on this unit. All right, cool. Um, this is now, instead of increased attack, it's vigor and CR to 30%. This is really strong and has synergies, so I will definitely want to see um, where this goes now. And also, yeah, that's it. There wasn't anything else, right? Yeah, there isn't really anything else. So I'm interested to see where this goes. Um, I don't think it was a necessary change. Moondom always had a spot in the game, and she will always have that as long as Exeter units exist. Um, this just makes it a little bit easier to build, which I understand. It just means that you don't even need to run like 250 speed, 240 speed. You can just run a fairly slow one. The 30% CR push is probably going to be enough because it's, like, where do you pick this? You pick this in Guild War against what? Giras. So yeah, you just put a Dark Bait unit and put this into Giras, and you're chilling at that point. Uh, the thing is, like, again, I don't understand this because it doesn't change your user by any means. It just makes it a little bit easier to play. Which I cool. It's not like this was a unit that was hard to gear. You could literally put it on anything. Oh, also, by the way, I have a gripe with the Galalilis buff. They showed that they can reduce thresholds to get max pen. Um, they've done it with Wyong. I don't know why they haven't done it with Lilius, because if running at level 27 armor or whatever is optimal on a unit, that annoys me. That just makes me not want to build that unit. So just make this easier. Like, you've shown in this exact same patch that you can tackle that problem if it is a problem for a unit. This is not supposed to be like an Ervalen that just goes into PV and always have that 100% pen. You would want to use this in PvP. Uh, Savior Adin. I like this change, by the way. As much as I hate this unit, I hate Adin in general. This is a pretty good buff, so she just gains 10 souls on Blade Gust. Cool. Extinction on S3. Love it. Game needs more extinction. I've said this for a while. This unit that makes sense that she would extinct. And then again, Straze would really make sense. But whatever. So she grants invincibility to all allies and not just all allies except herself. She now grants it to herself. And Soulburn is increased damage dealt. Soulburn, which she can give herself even with STU. And also they've removed the need to hit a dark elemental unit to do her plus damage and decrease skill cooldowns between turns, which fine. It goes a little bit against what they've said about making units a little bit more niche. But this is something that they've done with LQC, and I mean, it has shown that it doesn't really matter because what is LQC doing after they remove their needs to hit a Dark Elemental Unit that she's still not being used anywhere. So I feel like this is a pretty safe change. Anyways, it's kind of dressed, but it's pretty decent. So I would say it's probably a unit that will see some play, or at least some experimentation. Amomo, I don't understand this. So she gets 15% more health for free. Cool. Um, 5% more damage reduction. Okay, cool. Also, this is changed to 100% chance to dispel one additional debuff, which makes sense. The 25 didn't do anything. Uh, so recover in addition by an additional 20% instead of 10. Cool. I don't understand this. So instead of increasing CR of the caster by 50%, we now decrease the skill cooldowns of the caster by 1 turn, which I get it. It makes it able to go like S2, S3 very quick and just like cycle all over healing and plant spells. But at the same time, the CR loss is big. Like this is 50% CR that she had in her kit and that she just now doesn't have anymore. uh, then again, it doesn't matter. This is not a unit that you would run. You run this unit if you are week one into playing the game, and then you just never touch it afterwards. So I don't really know why I'm even talking about this unit. Um, so okay, moving on. Actually, there is like one situation, which is Guild War tournament. If it ever comes back and has the same dumb rule of wanting to run 3 stars, but I feel like that's very dumb. Um, Crown of Glory gets changed from removing 5 soul from the enemy to 10. Sure, good into free run, fine, I guess. And this is a pretty interesting change. So, Available Machinery, which for those who don't know, this is a free artifact that you get from a side story, and you do get enough to max it. And you only get one in the game, so if you want to max it, which you would want to, because it's a whale artifact. Well, whale, quote unquote. Like, you just need to go plus 30 to have a 100% chance to proc it. And it is now increased damage of attacks that target all enemies by 10%, and when the target is not an elite or boss monster, 100% chance to ignore damage sharing effects. So, first of all, this is only damage sharing and not damage reduction. So it doesn't have that, which would have made it a little bit better, obviously. But this is still an interesting change. So we're giving something to Rangers that makes them able to ignore damage sharing, which previously Rangers did not have. And this is only to Rangers that do AoE. So there are not a lot of them that would want to run this. So it's basically Saria who would run this. Kuchi depends on how you use her. Um, it could be Opsig could run this. And what else? There was one very obvious one that I have forgot right now, but there is a very obvious unit that could run this. Um, but yeah, that's kind of about it. It's not an artifact that will want to be used by a lot of units, which makes sense. You only have one of these. Um, and I would say that this will see play. It's still a good artifact. Give something to Rangers that they weren't able to do before. So I'm okay with this change, to be honest. And that's it. There's nothing else. Uh, to recap, Dutchkey's it. This is a nothing burger, does nothing, in my opinion, unless they give her an E, which then again, I don't know what they could give her. Um, unless they just give her, I don't know, speedy or something like that. I don't know. Lurkate, it's like, sure, depends on how much the barrier increases, but I don't believe this really changes the reason why you pick him. DBS just brings her a little bit more up to speed, more damage in general, and that's kind of it. Balances on irrelevant change. Bihu kind of irrelevant change. Fayung kind of irrelevant change. Landy weird side grid, but I don't really understand, but sure. Galilelius is a unit that is probably gonna be worth trying. I don't know about using. uh, Worth trying. If you have her built already, then cool. Try it, see how it is. If you like it, cool. If you don't like it, it's probably just kind of similar to before, and you're just gonna run Green Celine anyways. Mundo doesn't change the reason why you pick her, but now you can run her a little bit slower. That's it. Severin, this is also like similar to Galalias in the sense that she is here to kind of like fix a problem that we have in the game. For Galalias, it is damage reduction sharing, and Severadin is revives and stuff like that. But it's not the main unit that we want to do that anyways. It's just a unit that like now randomly has it in their kit, which is like okay, cool. Um, so yeah, just gonna be attack. If you want to try her, cool. If you don't want to try her, I don't think you're gonna miss on anything. And a Momo, I don't know about this one. It's just I don't think it changes her use. It just makes her a little bit more decent for early game players, and that's kind of it. Crown of Glory, things that were using Crown of Glory before will keep using it. I feel like there will be some RTA techs with this for going into free run because removing souls is pretty good into free run, I would say. Other World Machinery is a very good change. I like this one a lot, especially because it's done on a free artifact, so everyone has access to it. Free. Well, uh, spend your 900 sky stones, but still. It's an artifact that you can obtain very easily, and it's something that we didn't have. We'll definitely see play, or at least testing. If it will be played in general, I don't know. Like if it will be best in slot for someone. That's that one I don't know, but it will definitely be tested, and I will try messing around with it. Actually, no, never mind, because my Opsig is not built, so I will not do that. And I could try it on Saria, but I could try it on Saria. Although I run Saria mostly to chain with things, so I need a weekend leave on her, but sure, whatever. Well, that's kind of it.